Most people have one way of making money, and that works. Until it doesn't. A layoff, a health crisis, and suddenly the entire financial foundation disappears. But wealthy people tend to understand something most people never learn. It's not just how much you earn, it's how many ways you earn. Because not all income is created equal. In this video, we're breaking down the 7 types of income millionaires use to build wealth, including one that can continue paying you for work you finished months or even years ago. Let's get into it. Before we get into the 7 types of income, there's one important distinction we need to make. Some income is active, some income is passive. Active income requires your direct time and effort to continue existing. You stop working. The income stops too. Passive income works differently. The income may require work up front, sometimes a lot of work, but eventually it can continue generating money with less direct time involvement than traditional work. And this is one of the biggest mindset shifts wealthy people make. They don't just focus on earning more money. They focus on gradually shifting from trading time for money to owning assets that generate money. That's the real game. So with that in mind, let's go through the 7 income streams millionaires tend to build over time. The first type of income is earned income. This is the income most people start with. A salary, hourly wages, freelancing, consulting. Any situation where you exchange your time, skills, or labor for money. There's nothing wrong with earned income. In fact, for most people, it's the foundation that makes everything else possible. Your job may be what gives you the capital to invest, to start a business, to buy assets. But earned income has one major limitation. It's heavily tied to your time. There are only so many hours you can work in a day. And in many countries, earned income is often taxed more heavily than investment-based income. Which is why wealthy people rarely stop at earned income alone. They use it as a launchpad, not the final destination. The second type is profit income. This is where the shift from worker to owner begins. Profit income comes from buying or creating something and selling it for more than it costs to produce. This could be an online store, a restaurant, a consulting agency, digital products, or even a YouTube business. Instead of getting paid only for your labor, you're getting paid based on the value of a product or service. And unlike earned income, profit income can scale. A business owner can serve thousands of customers. An employee usually can't multiply themselves that way. This is one reason business ownership has historically been one of the most powerful, though also risky, paths to wealth creation, because ownership scales differently than labor. And in many cases, businesses also come with tax advantages and deductions that employees typically don't have access to. Of course, business income also carries risk. Business income is less predictable than a paycheck, and many businesses don't survive their first few years. But when it works, it creates leverage, and leverage changes everything. The third type is interest income. This is probably the simplest form of passive income. You lend money and get paid interest in return. This can happen through savings accounts, bonds, treasury bills, fixed income investments, or other lending vehicles. Now, interest income usually isn't the most exciting wealth-building tool. You probably won't become extraordinarily wealthy from a savings account alone, but it represents something important. Your money beginning to work for you. Instead of every dollar sitting idle, your capital starts generating additional capital, quietly, consistently, in the background. And while interest income may not be flashy, stability matters, especially during uncertain times. And this is where income starts becoming less connected to your direct labor. The fourth type is dividend income. This is income you receive simply because you own shares in a company. Some businesses distribute a portion of their profits back to shareholders in the form of dividends. So instead of working for money directly, you're participating in the profits of businesses. This is where the idea of ownership becomes very powerful. Think about it. You could be asleep, on vacation, or spending time with family, and still receive income because you own productive assets. This is one reason many long-term investors focus heavily on dividend-paying stocks, ETFs, and index funds. Over time, those dividends can be reinvested, which creates a compounding effect. Your investments begin generating income, which buys more investments, which generate even more income, and eventually the snowball becomes very large. Now, dividend income usually takes time to build. You need capital first. but this is one of the clearest examples of money making money. The fifth type is rental income. This happens when you own an asset and someone pays you to use it. Real estate is the classic example. You buy a property, a tenant pays rent, and ideally, the rent exceeds the expenses. But rental income goes beyond houses and apartments. People rent out cars, equipment, storage spaces, and even studio spaces. The core idea is simple. You own something valuable, and that asset produces recurring cash flow. Now, rental income often requires significant upfront capital, and managing property can involve maintenance, vacancies, repairs, and risk. So it's not completely passive, but well-managed rental assets can create relatively stable long-term income, while the underlying asset itself also appreciates in value, which means you can potentially benefit from both cash flow and capital gains. The sixth type is capital gains. This is when you buy an asset and later sell it for more than you paid. This could include stocks, real estate, businesses, collectibles, or other appreciating assets. For example, if you buy shares in a company for $1,000 and years later those shares are worth $5,000, the profit is considered a capital gain. And this is one of the most important wealth-building mechanisms in the world, because many wealthy people don't primarily build wealth through salaries. They build wealth through appreciating assets, assets that grow in value over time. And in many tax systems, long-term capital gains are often taxed at lower rates than ordinary earned income. And while tax treatment varies by country, this is one reason many wealthy people build wealth around ownership instead of labor alone. Of course, asset prices can also fall. Capital gains are never guaranteed. But historically, ownership of productive assets has been one of the most powerful drivers of long-term wealth creation. The seventh type is royalty, or residual income, and this is probably the most fascinating income stream of all, because this is income that can continue paying you for work you completed long ago. A musician creates a song and continues earning royalties years later. An author writes a book and continues getting paid every time it sells. A creator uploads a YouTube video, and that video can generate ad revenue long after it was published. Courses, photography, licensing, patents, digital products. All of these can generate residual income. Now, this type of income usually requires significant upfront effort, and there's no guarantee the asset succeeds. Many creators produce work that never gains traction, but when a valuable asset is created once and distributed repeatedly, the scalability becomes enormous. And thanks to the internet, this income stream is more accessible today than at any point in history. A single video, a single digital product, or a single piece of intellectual property can potentially reach millions of people worldwide. That simply wasn't possible for the average person a few decades ago. Now, hearing all 7 of these income streams can feel overwhelming. But the important thing to understand is this. Most wealthy people did not start with 7 streams of income. They started with 1, then gradually added others over time. Earned income became investments. Investments became assets. Assets began generating additional income. That's the progression. And realistically, not everyone needs all 7. The goal isn't to chase income streams for the sake of it. The goal is to gradually reduce financial fragility by becoming less dependent on a single source of income. Because the more your financial life depends on one paycheck, the more vulnerable your entire system becomes. And maybe that's the real lesson here. The question isn't which of these 7 income streams you'll eventually have. The question is, which one are you building next? If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. We're building a library of ideas designed to help you think more intentionally about money, wealth, and financial freedom.